you? I'm Suzanne Benatar. I am a product manager in the kids division here at Michaels, and I am so excited to be with you today. We are in week 1, day 2 of Forest Friends in Camp Creatology, and today we are going to make a foam bird mask. So we're going to turn into birds at the end of this class. So I'm going to just go through some of the supplies that we need. I hope you've already collected them, but if not, just go quickly run and get what you don't have. First, you're going to need a pencil for tracing. Second, you're going to need your tracing sheet. You're going to need some cording, string, yarn, something to tie the mask around your head when you're complete. We will need some feathers. We're going to need some foam sheets, some construction paper or colored paper. And all of this I got out of our craft case by Creatology. And inside, I'm going to open it up and get out the remaining supplies that we're going to need today. And that is, we are going to need glue or a glue stick. I'm going to use a glue stick. And then we need scissors for all of the cutting that we're going to be doing. So does anybody have any questions before we get in? I will just let you know this will be a little bit of a longer class. It probably will take close to 45 minutes to complete, depending on how many questions we have. And most of the time, like I said, will be spent on cutting. So are there any questions before we get started?
We have a couple of questions asking if they can make another animal other than a bird.
Sure. Yeah. I will be just guiding you to make a bird today, though.
And what else could they use instead of feathers?
What else could they use instead of feathers? You could use chenille stems and we could bend them and make them into half circles and just have them standing up. You could use, and friends, help me along if you've got other suggestions. You could use paper and cut out your own feather shapes and then color them in and glue them on the back. What else could you use? You could use craft sticks and glue on feather, like glue strips of paper to the craft sticks and then put the craft sticks behind. It might get a little heavy though.
And another person had asked, if you don't have any of the foam, what else could you use?
If you don't have foam, you could make this all out of paper. Just be really very careful when you're cutting and gluing and then punching the holes in, but you could definitely use paper because there's lots of paper masks out there. You could also use felt. If you have any felt sheets laying around, you could make this out of felt. It'll just probably take a little longer to cut, but you could use felt as well. Any other questions? Nope. All right, so let's get started. So first, what I would like you to do is take your sheet of tracing paper, and Deja, if you want to go to the other camera, you can. And what I did actually was I went ahead and numbered, if you can see on my sheet, let me find where the camera is, sorry. So I, like here for the mask, the main section of the mask, I circled a 1 up here in the corner. Where am I? Right here. And I labeled an F underneath for foam. So that way I could remind myself that this shape goes on foam. And then down here, I labeled this one 3 because in step 3, we're going to want to put this on paper. And then this square shape down here, I marked number 2 with an F because we're going to cut it out in foam. And then up here for the eyes, I marked it. Sorry, I'm not good with the camera upside down. I marked it with a 2 and F for foam. So that way it could help me keep straight of which shape goes on which material. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to start with number 1, which is the main mask. And I'm going to cut in a big rectangle shape first, just so that I could get it off of the paper. So if you want to just cut around really big around the face, if you can see. And now I'm going to start cutting around the solid black lines only. And I'm just going very carefully along the black lines. So has anyone decided what color mask they're going to use? Like in the example I showed, it was red. Are you going to use red? Are you going to use blue? Are you going to use purple? It's okay if you can't answer because you're too busy cutting. And then does anyone have a favorite bird that they like to watch and look for outside the window when the birds fly by your house? I love seeing cardinals in my backyard. Those are always my favorite birds. And down here in Texas, we have lots of blue jays too.
Someone is asking if they don't have string, what can they use?
You could use cording, you could use baker's twine, you could use regular twine, you could even probably, you might be able to use chenille stems too. Okay, so now what I need to do is once I've cut out the shape of the face or the mask, I need to cut out the dotted lines. See all the dotted lines that make the eyes, and then you've got these two little circles on the sides here. We have to cut all of those out. So a good trick that I learned long ago was to fold where you need to cut, because the scissors that we're working with are not very sharp, which is good. So you can't just kind of punch through the paper very easily, and you don't want to risk ripping the whole of the eye. So I fold the paper in half like this and kind of keep it open so you don't get a crease in it. And then I just cut in the middle of that open circle. So just like that. And then I put my one blade of my scissors into that hole. See how it's coming through? And then I just gently, with very small cuts, I just cut until I get to the perforated line. And then I just want to keep cutting really carefully and really slowly with little cuts all the way around. And it's okay if you're inside the perforated line. It's okay if you're outside the perforated line. You just want to get the eye holes to be open. So just cut very carefully and very slowly around the dotted lines. And I'll show you again on the other eye if you forgot how I was starting the cuts. So when you're done, it should look like this. Okay, so now we'll take the other eye. And again, I'm just folding it gently so that I can just get enough of a bend to be able to go straight into the center and make a cut like that.
We have a couple of people asking just to slow down just a little bit.
Okay, I will.
People are shouting colors like blue and pink.
Nice. Okay, so I'm just going to slowly cut around my perforated lines. And there is a lot of cutting. So if you do have an elder family member, or if you have an elder brother or sister or cousin or friend that's sitting around nearby, you might want to call them in and ask for some help, because you could get tired really quickly with all of this cutting. But it's important to cut all of this out in order to create the bird shapes that we want to make for our masks. Okay, so does everybody have their two eyes cut out now? So the next ones that we're gonna cut are the little holes on the sides. And these little holes are for where the string is gonna go. So see that little, this is the little hole we're gonna cut. And it's gonna be, there's two ways you could do it. You could do it with a pencil and you could punch your pencil through there, but you gotta be really careful that you don't rip the paper. And I find that sometimes I end up ripping the paper, which makes it not so easy. The other thing you can do is the trick I taught you just a little while ago, which is to just gently bend it again in the center. So the circle, if you can see, let's see how the circle is half and half. You can just then gently cut in the center again, like you did with the big eyes. And then just gently cut around till you get the piece of paper out. And you don't need to cut the whole circle. And just so everybody knows, there is a video online of me making this mask previously. So if you do get behind and you're not sure what to do next or what some of the things were that I called out, you can always watch the video online as well at michaels.com under Camp Creatology. So I'm just doing little cuts now, kind of like how the hairdresser cuts your bangs or cuts your hair, the little short cuts, just so that I can get a big enough opening. And then you can also take your pencil afterwards and push it through that way and make the opening bigger too. All right, so I'll try with the pencil on the other side and see if that is a little easier. It might be actually, if you want to try that and just gently swirl or turn your pencil as you're pushing it through, just gently so that it can get bigger and bigger and bigger like that. So this was me. Oops, where am I? So this was me using scissors, and then this side was using pencils. And then you can just push the paper behind so you have a big open circle. Okay, everybody's first template look like this.
So someone is asking if there's an easier technique for cutting the small circles.
I think in all honesty, based on what I just did, I think using the pencil would probably be easier than doing the scissors. Outside of that, I'm not exactly sure what would be any easier than just putting the pencil into the hole and just gently pushing the pencil through and then just twisting. You can see that, just twisting as you kind of push the pencil in. You don't need to make the pencil go all the way through because you might accidentally rip it, but just enough so that you can make it bigger. See that? And then you can just go back and do it on the other side as well. And I'm just twisting and twisting.
We have a lot of people saying use a hole puncher.
Oh, there you go. You could try the hole puncher if you have one nearby. I know I have a hole puncher, but I wouldn't be able to easily find it right this moment. Okay, so then we'll move on to step 2, which step 2 is cutting out our eyes up here and also cutting out the rectangle down here. So I'm going to cut out the rectangle first because that's easy. And I'm just cutting along the solid black lines.
We have someone asking what to do if they do not have the template paper. I did put the PDF inside the chat as well as inside the answered questions, but if they can't print it out, what could they do?
You could find a picture on, you could go to michaels.com and look at the picture that's under Camp Creatology for day 2 for the foam bird mask. And then you could just hand draw based on the picture you see, or I can show you what to do once I put the template onto the foam and I start to trace out once I start to trace out the template, maybe you could get a good guide for where to draw your lines on the foam. Okay, so now I'm gonna cut out the circles and I'm gonna start with the solid black lines first. And make sure as you go, kind of clean up your area and get all of the cuttings away from where you're currently cutting so that you don't mix up your cuttings with your templates.
You also have a couple more people asking just to slow down a little bit.
Okay, will do. I'm still just cutting out the two oval shaped circles on the solid black lines. So has anyone done anything fun so far in the summer? Although I think if some of you are still in the north, you may not be done with school yet. Are you done with school? I know for those of us here in the south, we've been done with school since the end of May, early part of June. I have two young boys who actually are away for a couple of weeks at summer camp. So the house has been very quiet with them gone. This is their first summer that they've gone away to sleepaway camp. My husband and I are kind of enjoying time without the kids, although we miss them dearly. We really do, because the house is so quiet. Okay, so can I move on to the next step of tracing our masks onto the foam? Or do we need to go backwards and try cutting some more templates out?
We have one, no, you can move forward, and one, please wait a moment.
Okay. So for those of you who
are out of school right now.
A lot of people are out of school? Nice. Well, thank you for joining me today in Camp Creatology. I'm so excited. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, we're really it's a really balanced mix of can you slow down versus can you speed up.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, for those of you that are done, if you want to pick out your foam colors and determine which foam color you want to be the main body of the mask. So in this case, it's the red is the main mask, and then the orange is what becomes the beak and the eyes. And then also think about what color paper you want to use for like the band or the stripe. I've actually picked out that I'm going to do, in honor of one of my son's favorite colors, I'm going to do the body of the bird mask in orange, and then I'm going to do the eyes and the beak in green, and I'm going to use red construction paper to be the stripe, and I'm going to use orange feathers for the feathers, as well as orange cording. So I'm going to get started because I want to make sure that we have enough time to finish the mask. And like I said from the beginning, this will probably take the whole hour. And I know there's a lot of cutting. And so I will be able to go backwards a couple of times for those of you that are still cutting, if you need me to help you get caught up. So once you figured out which base color you want to use for your mask, like I said, I'm using orange. You want to take the face template that you had just cut out with the two holes on the side. You want to take that and you want to put it down on the foam. Make sure you pick a side that doesn't have any kind of ink marks, printings, wrinkles, dots, whatsoever. You want to pick the prettiest side. You want to pick the not so pretty side to trace on, and you want the pretty side to stay clean, so that's what I was always looking out at everybody who looks at you. So you want to pick the dirty side, the messy side, the wrinkled side to trace on. So in my case, I'm going to pick this side because I've got a little bit of bend here in the foam. And it'll just look nicer if I hold it, if I have the mask that way. So if you want to remember which side is the good side and the bad side, you can label one side with a G for good and one side with a B for bad. You could label it T for top and B for bottom. But I would just recommend that you kind of label it so you remember which side you traced on. And actually don't write on the good side because you don't want to have any markings. So what I did, I just labeled my backside with a B so that I know that it's the backside or the bottom or the bad side. So I'm going to take my face template and I'm now going to lay it on top. If you used the foam sheets from our craft case, the mask is going to be just a little, the mask template is just a tad wider than the foam shape, but that's okay because it won't take away from the final appearance of the mask. So in that case, what I've done is you want to make sure you try to get it as straight as possible. So try to level the top of the mask and the bottom of the mask with the foam sheet so that you know that it's at least straight. And then where you can draw on the foam is where you will outline the mask. So I have lined it up here. Let me clear off my area so you can see a little bit more of what I've done. And I'm going to put my hand down to keep it straight and flat. And then I'm going to just trace the template onto the foam. You might have to do a couple of lines in order for you to see the pencil mark, but you can hold it up so you can see, but I just drew a little half circle right there. So for those of you that do not have a template, if you want to just follow, I did it horizontal. I'm holding the foam sheet horizontal and I did a little half circle in that upper right corner. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll do another half circle in the upper left corner for those of you that do not have the template. For those of you that do have the template, just continue tracing all the opening areas. So you even want to do the inside of your eyes. You want to trace them as well. You want to trace the little circles that are inside, you know, that we cut out on the sides of the mask. You want to trace those as well. Because these lines now are going to show you where to cut out the foam.
We have a couple of questions here.
Yeah,
Zane asks, can we do whatever animal we want?
absolutely. You do not have to do a bird.
An anonymous attendee has asked, can I use crayons instead of pencils?
I think so. I've not actually ever used crayons on foam, so I don't know if the wax from the crayons will show up, but you could certainly try. And if you're using another type of material, just test it before you do all of it to make sure that you can see your lines.
And the last question is, can I use construction paper? And that's said by the Schultz family.
Can you use construction paper for what?
For the mask.
Yes, absolutely. So here is how my template turned out on the foam. So for those of you that are not, that do not have a template, let me again try to find the center here. I did a half circle in the top left, top right corner and top left corner. I did a little half circle in the lower right corner and the lower left corner. I then did kind of like a, like a trapezoid, where I did two angled lines and then a very short line a little bit up. And then I did my two eyes in the center here, which you don't have to make them oval. You could just make them circles if you'd like. And then I did my two little holes on the sides. And the holes are actually in the center of the foam sheet or the foam shape. And so I am going to now go and cut out my foam shape with the mask that I just traced. You should find it super easy to cut through the foam. I actually find it easier to cut the foam than the paper. It's a lot softer. Again, I'll just pull this closer so you can see. And that's what I've done so far. So see how it's kind of similar. And then we want to fold, like I did earlier, you want to fold the foam. Don't wrinkle, but don't crease the foam because then you're going to have a straight line. But I just gently cut inside the circle. And then you have your tear. And then you can just put the scissors through that tear and just gently, with small little cuts, start cutting around the line that you made.
We have a couple of questions asking if we are going to use glue and can we use glitter glue?
Can we use glitter glue?
Yeah.
I don't see why not. I mean, you won't, the only thing is that you won't get credit for it because you won't see the glitter, but yes, if the glitter glue is strong enough to adhere construction paper, then absolutely. And the glue would also be used for attaching the feathers to the back of your mask. So I'm now going to cut out the other eye and do the same thing where I just kind of cut through the center opening like that. See that? And then I just start cutting around the pencil lines that I drew. And again, these do not have to be perfect circles or perfect ovals because mine certainly are not. You just want to have them open so that you can see through them. So you don't hurt yourself when you're wearing it and you're walking around. And now I am not going to cut out these two little circles. I'm going to wait until I've put the construction paper on to cut those out, because then I'll just punch all the way through the foam and the paper at one time. So now I'm going to take, well, before I move on, are there any questions?
We're still getting mentions of asking to slow down. I would like to remind everybody that there is a video on YouTube of this already, and most videos for the webinar will be posted between 24 to 48 hours on Michael's website and their YouTube.
So before we move on to in this case, the second color foam, which I've chose green, we need to finish cutting out the eyes that we had cut out earlier. So I'm going to fold the eye, where am I? The eye shape, I'm going to fold it in half like that. And again, just like what I did on the foam and on the paper earlier, I'm going to just cut in the center so that I can get my scissor into the center and start cutting along the dotted line. Just like that. And we are almost, I think we're about 2/3 of the way done with all of our cutting. So I'd like you to know that you probably got through the hardest or the most cutting of this project if you've caught up to me. I'm just going to continue cutting out the second eye. Okay. And then I have my square, so we are going to take our second color of foam and we are going to take our square sheet, our square template that we had cut out earlier. And I am just going to place it on the foam and I'm just going to outline a square. I actually have a ruler here and I will tell you that this square is about 1.5 inches square. So it's 1.5 by 1.5 if you need a ruler to measure out the square shape. So after I've drawn my square, I'm going to cut it out in the foam. And then I'm going to take my eyes and I'm going to draw my eyes, and my eye template is about 2 inches round. So if you have a ruler and you want to measure 2 inches, you can then have your eye shape. And remember, for the eyes, you want to have an outside. So your outside measurement is 2 inches, which I'm now just tracing along on the foam. And you also want to cut out the inside circle as well, because you want to be able to see through your eye holes. So I'm tracing the outside circle, and then I'm going to hold it down my fingers, and I'm going to trace the inside circle, just so. And I think this ring, or this ring is like 1/4 inch wide. So my eye looks like that. And then you have to draw 2 of those. So I'm just going to take it and trace it above it. And I'm going to start with the inside this time. And then work on my way outside. It's okay if you go outside the line, like I just did. All right, so those are my 2 eye templates in foam. So now I'm going to cut them out. I have to cut out the center. I have to cut out the center right here. Where am I? Right there. And then I have to cut out the outside circle as well. So you're going to have a thick frame. And basically what we're cutting is this guy right here, this orange one. This is what we're cutting right now. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to start on the outside and just follow the lines that I drew. And again, you don't have to worry about being perfect. And then just like I've done with all the other circle templates, I'm just going to cut in the center. And this is a little harder because it's foam, so it's thicker. You might need an adult or an older sibling or cousin or friend to help you cut out the center. But I'm just now with small little cuts going around. So my eye looks like, my eye is definitely not perfect. And that is okay. And then I'm just going to try to go in and clean it up just a little bit. But again, I'm just doing small little cuts. And that's my eye. So I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to follow the outside line first. And then I'm going to do the inside. So does anyone have any plans for this summer? Has anyone signed up for any other Camp Creatology classes, or did anyone do the Camp Creatology class on Monday? Has anyone bought any of the summer craft kits that are in the stores at Michael's right now for for Creatology?
We have a couple of people saying they're going to soccer club, they're going on vacation. Somebody's doing all of the classes, that would be Harper.
Wow.
And then Suzanne said that we did the Monday class and signed up for all of the classes.
Nice.
There are so many people who are signed up for all of the camps, and someone says they're going to Legoland.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
We have another person going to the beach.
Oh, would love to go to the beach.
Me too. I'm a bit jealous. A lot of people are doing all of the classes. That's awesome.
That's great. All right, so you should have your two eyes cut out, or your frames for your eyes should be cut out. Let's call them frames. And then you cut out your rectangle for the nose. So we're gonna glue now, and we're gonna come back and do the construction paper on the next step. So what you wanna do is you wanna take your square, and I like to position everything first before I glue, just so that I can make sure I like where I'm gonna put everything before you put the glue on, and then it becomes permanent. So you want remember you wanna have your bad side or your bottom side facing up right now on your surface, so that you're gluing onto the back side. You don't want to be gluing onto the pretty side. You see how the pretty side has no markings, but the back side, bottom side, bad side has all the pencil marks. So you want to make sure your rectangle or the square that you cut out, that also might have pencil lines on it. If you see any pencil lines, like mine has some pencil lines on it, it's hard to see. But you want to have the pencil lines facing up to you, and you want to position it so it's kind of like on an angle, like on a triangle. See that? Because you want it to have a beak, right? And well, we're making birds. So for some of you who aren't making birds, you might want to position it a little differently. But since we're making a bird and a bird has a beak, you want it to be on a triangle, have a triangle tip. So you want to put it on a side or on an angle like this. And then when you flip it over, it'll look like that. Okay. So now that you have an idea of where you want to position it, you then want to open up your glue stick or open up your glue. And then I like to just rub the glue along the foam like that. Can you see what I've done? I just kind of went along the perimeter of the nose outline. And then I'm going to take my ugly side of my square. I'm going to place it on an angle, and I'm going to rest it on top of the areas where I just glued. And I'm going to push down. Don't need to push for too long. Push really hard with all your strength so you're adhering in. It should look like mine looks like that. Okay. And let's go and we'll let that rest. Actually, we'll do one more thing. Let's glue our feathers. If you want to grab your feathers, grab your chenille stems, grab whatever else you decided to use for feathers, and kind of, I like to position them onto the back side of the feathers. You can do, Depending on how big your feathers are or how small your feathers are, you could do 4 or 5 of them. I'm gonna do 5 feathers. And I'm gonna just position them on the back side or the bottom side or the bad side of my mask. I'm gonna position them along the top above the eye holes. Do not have the stems of the feathers hanging underneath your eyes because then they're gonna hit you right in the eye. And then I'm going to start to glue. And I'm just gonna take my glue stick and go up and down in a straight line. And I'm gonna adhere my glue or adhere the feathers to the glue. And then I'm gonna do that again right here. And I'm gonna push my feathers down.
Lily is asking if the feathers are real or fake.
These feathers are real feathers that have been dyed and cleaned. They're not fake feathers. And these feathers came out of our Creatology craft case. And so now I'm going to just let this rest while we cut out the paper. And just make sure your feathers stay down like this guy's coming up. And just keep pushing down on them so that they can adhere to the glue.
We have a couple of people who are done already.
Oh, really? Done with the mask?
Mhm.
Wow, sorry. We're kind of going slow. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left, so we do have to kind of pick up the pace to make sure we capture everything. So now we're going to cut out the template for the paper. So we're down here where we marked number 3 for paper. Then we're going to cut out this rectangle, and I'm going to cut along the solid black lines. Well, for those of you that are done, I hope that you will take a picture and post it to hashtag Michael's classes or hashtag make with Michael's, because I'd love to see what you created today in class. Because I'm a product manager in the kids division, I love seeing kids make things with our products. And I love hearing the good things about what you made and the bad things about what you made in regards to what we could do to make them better. So please feel free to make a post and let me know what you thought. Because we're always working every day to make really cool, fun, innovative things and to even improve upon the things that we've already have made. Okay, so I have my rectangle printed out. And now I'm going to cut through the dotted lines. You can see. I'm going to cut through. So again, just bend it in half. Cut through. And then I'm just going to go along the perforated lines. Really gently, because this one you have a close dots to the rectangle. And you don't really want to cut through the rectangle shape. So again, just do your small little cuts and just keep cutting till you're done. All right, we're just going to keep cutting. Does anyone have any questions or comments so far in regards to the masks that they're making or have made? All right, so I've cut mine out. It looks like this. I chose red construction paper, so I'm just going to put the template on top of the red construction paper. And now I'm going to just trace out my template. And I'm going to just hold it down with my fingers and make sure it doesn't, try to make sure it doesn't move. And you also want to trace out the eye holes as well. And then we're going to trace this eyes.
So we have a question. In future classes, are we going to do something similar to this craft?
No, we don't have any other mask classes, but we do have a class where you're making, I think, an octopus out of foam with chenille tentacles. And I know that we're making a chenille buddy or monster, I think it is, in another week. But no, there aren't any other mask classes that I'm aware of. So I cut out my rectangle and now I'm gonna do again, fold so that I can cut through the paper and cut out the eye holes. And I'm gonna go quicker because we do only have like 10 minutes and I wanna make sure we can.
Andrew has said that they went to the Lincoln Memorial, trying to answer your question from before of what people are doing during the summer.
Uh-huh.
So he said that they went to the Lincoln Memorial.
That is so cool. I've been there before when I was a child.
And Nishi, sorry if I said your name wrong, is wondering when the next class is.
Is what?
When the next class is.
So the next class is on Friday. I don't remember what it is, but it is a forest theme class. And then we have 3 classes next week. Every class for the next 3 weeks is always going to be on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday at the same time. So it's 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can go to michaels.com and scroll down on the homepage towards the bottom, and you will see Camp Creatology and where you can then go to sign up for your classes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over my mask so I'm on the pretty side or the top side, and I'm going to take my construction paper that I just cut out, and the side that has the pencil marks I want to put glue on. I think because I left my glue stick open, my glue might be.
The Toothmans are asking if you'll be the instructor for next class.
I will not be the instructor for the next class. Actually, this is the only class that I signed up to instruct. But I promise that I will be back for the next kids club, which I think our next one is going to be around the fall. So we're going to have some Halloween and some, I think some Thanksgiving projects. And then I also always do one at Christmas time. So if you want to do a class with me again, please be on the lookout for that. And I promise I will sign up for another one. That is if you enjoyed the class with me, or yeah, because I really enjoy doing these classes. So now I just glued the paper on top of here. And then I want to take my foam rings and I want to glue those on top of the paper. And I glued on the side that has the pencil markings so that you don't see the pencil markings when you're finished. You have the pretty side always facing up. And then I need to take my pencil, which I think is going to be the easiest way, is I'll take my pencil and I'm going to poke it through the little hole that's on the back side of the mask. And I'm going to gently poke it through. That goes all the way through the construction paper, or as somebody else has suggested earlier, you could use a hole punch as well. And I'm just going to keep twisting my pencil through until I feel like the hole is big enough. And then you can do it. I'm doing it on both sides just so that I can get it to be nice and round. So see, yeah, you can kind of see through it now. I'm going to do that on the other side. And wait till you guys see, so speaking of Halloween and Christmas, wait till you guys see some of the cool stuff that we have coming in for Halloween and Christmas, for like pumpkin decorating and Christmas decorating. We got trains and jack-o'-lanterns and light up things. You just wait. I can't wait for all that product to arrive. I should have a lot of fun with it.
We have somebody saying that they're making a space bird, and a couple people are really enjoying the class.
Awesome. Okay, so now the last thing we need to do is cut some string. So just, there is no particular length. You don't have to measure anything. Just pick it long enough so that you know it'll wrap around your head and it'll be easy to tie. I then take the next set of string and I line it up with the first string that I cut so that I can try to get them to be both even. So like right there. And then I'm going to cut. And then this is the part that I always find the hardest, is getting the string into the hole. So I like to just kind of twist it together, folded it and then twisted it and just push it through. And sometimes I need the pencil to help me. So what I'll do is I'll take the ring that I made. Where am I? Why can't I find myself?
More to the right. There you go.
And I take my pencil and I put my pencil through the little loop that I made. And then I'll push my pencil through the hole and it should, well, if I don't get too far up, it should come through. Oh. And then I'll tie a knot. And then I'll do it again on the other side. I'll twist it a little bit, use my pencil, which I lost the lead on. I'll use my pencil. To push it through. And I'll grab it. And I'll tie it in a knot. Gently, so you don't rip the foam or rip the paper. And then this one feather does not want to stay on, so I'm going to add more glue. And then we should be done with our masks. And how did it turn out? If you want to go to the front view, Deja, we can show each other our masks, or I can show everybody my mask. So this is how my mask turned out. This is how the one we had before where we started with that kind of matches what the classroom image showed. And then this is the one that I made with orange and green and red. And then when you go to put it on, it should look like this. I'm not going to put it all the way on since I just glued it. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Are there any last minute questions? Because we have 5 minutes left in the class. Is there something that somebody would like me to show how to do again?
Sean is asking, how long does the string have to be?
I would say, well, so I have the tape. I would say make it at least 12 inches just to be on the safe side so that you can tie it around your back, tie it around your head and do it in like, you know, a bow so that you can easily take it on and off. You might need somebody to help you tie it because I did find it a little challenging even for myself to tie this around my head when I did it the other day in the last time in the video, but you want to just make sure that you can get it around. So like that. But you might want to have somebody help you tie it. But anyhow, you can put a name to your bird. You can have your bird, and I love the idea of having a alien bird or a superhero bird or a princess bird or a fantasy bird or a cuckoo bird.
Rain says they really like the colors that you chose.
Oh, thank you. I think my son will be very proud too. And like I told you, my son's not here, so I was making this in honor of him because I miss him so much. But I know that he's having a lot of fun where he is. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun today. And like I had mentioned earlier, we've got other classes for the next 3 weeks. We have a class on Friday. We have 3 classes next week and the following weeks. And the themes of the next 3 weeks are, next week it's ocean animals. So it's all ocean and sea theme. Week 3 is about outer space adventures and going out into the universe and being imaginative there. And then week 4, the final week, is called Fantasy Fun Week. And those are all going to happen on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Go to michaels.com/Camp Creatology to see more details about each of the classes. There's really great pictures out there to show you what exactly each class will be making. Then when you click on the class, you can get a whole list of all the supplies and even some of the instructions or templates that you would need to finish the project. So again, don't forget to please post your pictures or have your parents or caregivers post your pictures at #Michaels classes and also #MakeItWithMichaels, because I would love to see how your masks turned out today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in a future class. So look out for a class with me in the fall as well as at Christmas time. Have a great summer, everybody. Bye.